funds and supplies, but you need a place to track your stuff, cause you're so disorganized. You click open the web page, you heard about a critical role, and now you're ready to kick some butt in a mine shaft full of no's. It's TNT. TNT Beyond. Yeah, TNT. TNT Beyond. You got your steps, you got your swords, and you got your invisible war. It's TNT. TNT Beyond.
Hello and welcome to another week and another episode of our development update and community Q&A session. I'm Adam Bradford, the product director for D&D Beyond. We're going to jump right in today. We've got some exciting news, announcements, things to show off today. So we'll get into latest updates. We'll talk about the upcoming roadmap and we'll see if anything's changed with that. We will do some demoing today. We'll do it live, talking about the Artificer and our D&D Beyond Discord bot. And then, as always, we hope to leave plenty of time for questions. I saw several of those coming in via Discord and Twitter and the Facebooks when it worked yesterday. So we'll see what we get, with that, and get into the questions with whatever time we have left at the end. So, Unearthed Arcana Artificer integration, that is releasing any second now. You might be able to access it now, maybe. If you're not, I imagine you will be able to within the next 15 minutes or so. We're going to dive into the class a little bit. We'll talk to you about how you can get started building an Artificer on D&D Beyond, and how some of the somewhat complicated mechanics are going to work and how you can make that work for you in D&D Beyond. This being playtest content and it not being firm concrete has made us really look into some design decisions about how we're going to handle the individual parts of the class. So what I mean by that, we'll get into a little bit later, but ultimately kind of the TLDR version of that is we have not wanted to build out entire huge systems for something that could potentially change in the future, but we did want to spend ample time to do what is needed to make it convenient enough to play and to play tests. So that's kind of the mark that we have been striving for with Artificer, and that's going to be live pretty soon here. Like I said, I think we've got one last little thing that we're trying to clean up before that happens. The DDB Discord bot, that is also going to be available and live, if it's not right this second, anytime now too. Pretty much when I start showing this stuff off a little bit later in our stream today, you are going to be able to start playing with it yourself. So, work in progress, our pre-alpha encounter builder. Our next steps that we're trying to get into are saving an encounter and populating an encounter list. So we are making some progress. I'm really excited about how this is going. I think that perhaps by next week, I might be able to show off the more high fidelity mocks. So it's not going to look like a wireframe anymore. And I have to say that our designers have gone out of their way to make this really, really something. So I'm excited to share that. And probably by next week, we'll get into that. And then some maintenance and enhancements. As we are always looking to do, we have all the new things that we're wanting to take care of, but we also, with as many users and as many fans as we have out there playing D&D, we have a backlog of bugs and things that we need to address. And so we have done some of those things in the last sprint as well. Concentration is now going to show up in the duration of spells. So if you miss the icon on the name, you're still going to see it in duration. Should have been there. We've addressed that. We've also added spell sources in the sidebar. So when you're looking at spells, you're going to see what the source of the spell is. So if it came from Xanathars or if it came from the player's handbook and so on. And this is just getting us closer and closer to some AL work that we're wanting to do. And then we've put in several fixes for mobile. You should be able to see that in the release notes for those apps from the different stores. And then we've made some Twitch extension updates. Critical Role, as they've started to use the extension, we have more data than we've ever had regarding the extension. And so in the middle of that, we've had a pretty small group of people having some access issues and all of this, and we've made some fixes to that. So if you are planning to watch Critical Role tonight, is it Thursday yet? It is Thursday. So if you're watching that tonight and you have been having problems, browsers are weird things, if you guys didn't know that. And there are so many variables and a variety of factors that go into the environment for what kind of browser you're using, what your settings are. But we have tracked down some pretty small, bugs that have kind of affected a small group of people. And we're just going to continue to do those kind of things to make sure that people can click on Sam's character card and see that information. So hopefully that will fix that for you if you end up watching tonight. All right, upcoming additional login providers. As we are getting into this is a really, really good example of us refining our strategy for what we're going to do with login providers as we go. So we've being very transparent here. We had our first real formal kickoff for this discussion this week. The team got together, discussed so many angles of what's going on here. We certainly are going to provide Google as an authentication provider going forward into the future because Google is the biggest and the most used OAuth provider in the world. So it's going to cover almost everyone. And then we are going to make sure that folks are going to be able to continue to use or link their Twitch account to their DDB account in order for individuals to be able to take advantage of the integration that we have with the platform. So the Twitch extension, we need to know what your Twitch ID is. And so we'll have linking that will be available for that. And then, as you know, we've started doing some interesting, fun things with Discord. And so we will have ways in the future for you to link your Discord account to your DDB account as well. And we are going to take on the strategy of adding authentication providers when that provider has something that is valuable that we are able to do for you through DDB. So for instance, I'm specifically saying right now that we are not going to add Facebook right away because we don't have any form of integration whatsoever with Facebook. So we think that, again, with Google being the largest, it makes a great deal of sense for us to go that avenue. And then we will follow up over time with those providers that we have integrations with. And obviously through all of that, we will be paying attention to community feedback. So if there are other authentication sources that Google is not able to cover, we will take a look at that as those come up. But we are starting to get into that a little bit. You'll see if you go and visit ddb.ac/feature-roadmap. If you go there, you'll see that some items have been moved around. I tried to do that late last night, but we already have lurkers out there that are paying attention to everything that's happening. I guess you probably have notifications set up or something. But basically, you've got it to where we've moved a couple of things over into the done category, and we've moved some other things into the in progress. And we have kicked off the login providers this week, and we're going to start conceptualizing that. Content management's coming. My characters page updates, AL validation, all these things remain priorities, and they're going to be the next things that we work on. All right, so now it's time to do it live here. So let's take a look at the Artificer class. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Embiggen. All right, let's see. So yeah, So we've got an artificer that is going to be coming in. Let me see here. We do not, no word yet. Okay. All right. I don't think we're quite live yet with this, but I have a special view. So with the artificer, you see that as always, this is playtest material. And I want to be very clear about that. We have seen in the past this happen with some Unearthed Arcana content that was available for Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. When that book was officially published and the content in that Unearthed Arcana became published, then we did remove that content. So this means that this version of the Artificer has a shelf life, and that shelf life is going to be determined by whenever the Wizards of the Coast team publishes the Artificer in an actual product. And once that happens, this version will be deprecated. So this is playtest material. That's why the disclaimer is right there on, right in your face here. And so if you are playing a character with this, you're not going to lose that character or anything, but you're going to lose access to that class and the ability to add that class in the future and all those kind of things, because we want to make sure, as the official digital tool set for Dungeons and Dragons, that we are not confusing people with multiple versions with of content out there, with deprecated content, i.e. content that the game designers have deemed is no longer what they intend for the game. So all of this is a disclaimer to say that, yes, we want everybody to play test an Artificer. We want you to provide feedback. The survey is going to be live anytime now. If it's not already, keep an eye out for that. You will be able to use this in between now and whenever this gets published. When it gets published, it will be deprecated. The new version, with whatever changes or lack of changes are available, would then be made available for everyone to utilize within D&D Beyond. So that is the disclaimer. If there are any questions about that, I'm happy to dig into what I can answer there. And I'm not saying we'll keep anything secret. It's just what I know versus what I don't. But that is our approach to this playtest material. But this is the Artificer. And again, all this is from the PDF that you guys have already seen. You'll notice we don't have any art for this yet. They're not ready with art. And so we don't have it in here. And we've put everything together you'll be able to see here with the Artificer. So I want to talk about a couple of class features in particular, and we will go and create a character to demonstrate this. So we are going to, let's say that this guy is Tinker Tailor, Soldier, Spy. All right. So Tinker Tailor, Soldier, Spy is obviously a dwarf because they're so sneaky. All right. So we're going to do a dwarf for Tinker Tailor. That's his first name. Soldier, Spy is his last name. All right. So let's see what we get here. Brewer's Supplies, obviously. Tough line of work. Tough line of work that Tinker Tailor is in. All right. So as you can see, the Artificer is going to, again, we don't have art, so we're using a generic Unearthed Arcana icon here. But we're going to choose our Artificer. And as we choose the Artificer, let's just go on to level 20. This is going to be a fun game. Tinker Tailor is very experienced. And I would say that Tinker Tailor probably needs, we're just going to do Alchemist and let's see, what do we want? Or I probably know something about magic, since he can just out of thin air make it into things. And then he's a spy, so we'll say sleight of hand. All right. So with Artificer infusions, you can see that over time you can select up to, I think it's 8 artificer. Let's see. Yeah, I think I did the math right there. 8 different options. So as you're selecting these, to let everyone know, let's see how, yeah, I think this is probably big enough for you guys to see. Let me zoom in one more time. So as we're going here, you have the different options, and there is a different option for each of the magic items that you could potentially infuse on here. So the Boots of the Winding Path, it's going to tell you about it. We will say an enhanced weapon. All right, so you'll see here, and this is kind of the start of. Well, actually, let me just go through our options first, and then we'll talk about that when we get to the sheet. So, Boots of Speed. It's a really fun class, to be honest. That's one of the best parts of us needing to get this content available in D&D Beyond is we really, really figure out the ins and outs of the class. And so very enjoyable. All right, so Artificer Specialist. Let's say we're, oh, you know what? This isn't going to be available right now. I forgot about that until it's live on our Artificer Specialist here. And it looks like we're not quite there. Yeah. All right, so we're not quite there, but we can go into our sheet now and see, well, we've got to add some ability scores. All right. This is just wishful thinking right here. Obviously, we've got a 20 intelligence. We'll say not very wise. Very charismatic. All right, so we've got our Artificer here, Tinker Tailor, Soldier Spy. And so with this, we will see that if we look at our features and traits, that we have our infusions here. And Boots of the Winding Path, for instance, if I click here, it's going to tell me, all the things about that, revealing here. But in order to get the Boots of the Winding Path, we have elected to use magic items for these different infused items because the end result is a magic item. And so I have this infusion. I'm going to track that I have infused that item here in our, limited use tracking. And then I am going to go to my equipment. And when I manage equipment and adding inventory, hopefully this part's turned on at this point. But we'll say that these are, oh, not quite yet. We're not quite there. So you would come here and you would look for Boots of the Winding Path, and you would add Boots of the Winding Path here in the Manage Equipment area. And then if you are making an enhanced weapon, then you are going to, again, track that to say that, hey, I have infused another item, and I would go to my equipment. And if you guys are paying attention, that enhanced weapon is simply a longsword +1, right? And so I would add that to my inventory, the longsword +1. This also allows all of these items that you can use as infusions are obviously available to all other characters too, because you can infuse items and give them to other characters. So all of these infused items, you can keep up with them here, but then you're going to go and manage equipment to actually pull those items into your inventory. So for any items that were not already mirroring or replicating existing magic items, just like enhanced weapon is, just like, let me see, I guess, what is it called? Enhanced armor. I think it's enhanced armor. That is replicating existing magic items, even though it's got a slightly different name. So for those items that are not replicating, like the Boots of the Winding Path or the belt, Belt of Many Pouches, I think it is, or Mini Pouch something, those items are going to actually be built out as separate magic items now, where you can equip those and make those active on your character, or you can give them to someone else and they can go into the manage equipment area and add those. You can also see that the Artificer at 20th level now has six attunement slots per the level 20 ability that they get. So with that too, we will be adding a new modifier that will allow you on homebrew items or other places, class features, to add attunement slots. You don't have to add 3 new slots. You can add them one at a time. There's also a new modifier out there that gives you a bonus on saving throws based on how many attunements, slots or attuned items you have, rather. So all of that is added because the Artificer has introduced those new mechanics. So the other thing that I was going to share is that with the creatures section, we have the ability here for our, let's see, alchemist, which I can't add the alchemist yet. But when you get to the creatures section, you are going to see a new category here that is alchemical homunculus. And when you choose that category, it's going to take the, you have the homunculus here. And again, this creature will show up properly once all this, gets in place. You add the alchemical homunculus here. And again, this is not the correct creature, but it will show up once everything gets live here. And you will be able to use that homunculus and it will update the hit points and everything else that it needs to based on the rules there. So the major places that, in summary for the Artificer, if you are infusing items, you can track how many infusions you have active in the features and traits area, and then you can add those items specifically via the manage equipment screen, and you can find those magic items and add them to either your inventory or your allies can add them to theirs. And then when it comes to the alchemical homunculus or the arcane turrets that the artillerist has, you can add those in the creatures section. New creature rules have been added. Other than that, the only other area that we are not covering incredibly well is going to be the spell storing item. And we will allow you to track how many uses that spell storing item has, but we're not yet able to allow you to attach a specific spell to that. But that is part of a bigger system that as we start getting that in place, hopefully before too long, where you can attach a spell to that item and that class feature in that way, we hope that you will also be able to attach spells to scrolls and to other areas in the site. So that is on the list, and that is something that we're going to be addressing. So Tinker Tailor, I'll come back and finish him when everything filters through and everything's live and everything's good to go. All right. Now let's take a look at, and when everything's ready, just to let everyone know, you will find a new entry on the mega menu here underneath the wizard that is for our Artificer. Okay, let's talk about Discord. I don't believe there's a way. I always go through this. Discord doesn't let you zoom. So I believe it is live already. We see potentially people already in here. Bogus needs some help. Bogus 73 needs some help. So if live now on the D&D Beyond Discord server, you can join that up. Hopefully in chat we have joining the Discord server links that will go out, but you can join the Discord server. And if you desire to do so, you can go to the DDB bot commands channel. And in that channel, you can play around with the Discord bot that we are currently working on. So this is very early alpha, just for everyone's information. So very early alpha. This might end up moving too fast that I can't even do anything, but we'll type. So I just typed !monster goblin, and then I get a stat block representation of a goblin here. And you can roll here. You can do !roll 1d20. And I rolled a 2. We're gonna have to work on that. Like anytime that I roll, it's got to be above a 10. But ultimately, you can go to this channel for now and play around with this and get a feel for how this is shaping up. Again, this is early alpha. We welcome feedback. So in the DDB feedback channel, if you have feedback regarding the Discord out, please share that. We'll be paying attention to that. This is going to end up growing over time. For now, this is a very important thing. For now, we only have basic rules or SRD content that is available in the Discord DDB bot here. So don't be trying to do !monster beholder. It's not going to work at this point in time. It is only SRD and basic rules content for now, but over time, as we continue to link your Discord account to the DDB account, then you will be able to pull the content that you own. And so if you are, if you own the Monster Manual and you look up Monster Beholder, at that point in time, you're going to see the stat block for the Beholder pulled in. This is only available in the DDB server and in that specific channel for now. We're going to add some channels over time. We'll keep you guys updated on that. We are going to start even playing some games. I think Lauren Urban is our community manager, is going to be doing some exciting things with running some games for some lucky people out there using the Discord server in the near future. So we'll let everybody know as that starts to take shape. And over time, the intent when this gets ready for prime time is for you to be able to utilize this bot in your own Discord server or other servers that you're a part of. So that is available now. I see people coming in and trying to do all kinds of stuff with it. You guys have fun. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, you can roll at advantage. So you can say, what is it? 1d20, roll 1d20 AD. And I rolled a 20 with advantage. So that's a little bit more like it roll bot. So that is our D&D Beyond Discord server bot available for alpha testing at this point in time. All right. Let's see. I think that brings us back to Q&A time. And keep your eyes peeled for exactly when the Artificer is going to go out. We will blast that out on the socials, but it is going to be today. So keep your eyes open. All right, so let's take some questions. Let's see. All right, Lauren, if you hear me, I don't know if these are the Discord or social media questions or not that are in the Slack channel. So I don't really know where those are. If you've got if these are them, that's great. All right, so I'll just start with what I have here. Smartian, what has been the biggest challenge in developing the Artificer class for DDB, or rather adapting DDB to fit the Artificer? The biggest challenge, to be honest, none of the challenges were actually that big. There were just a few things that we needed to do. So I would say the infusions and the creatures section that I was just trying to describe there were probably the biggest deals that we had to work with. Other than that, most of the systems did work. It's just not something we could turn around in a couple of days. So we had to take a little extra time to adapt those things, but none of them were particularly big. Most of the problems that we have to solve are not big problems. They're just when you have thousands of problems, you kind of you have to pick and choose what you're doing. Let's see. Dagobah 46. If we already log in with Twitch, will we be able to link our existing to a Google account sign in? I'll finally be able to get around my work network's lockout. Yes, the idea is for all current account holders, you would be able to migrate, and I don't even know if that's the proper term for it. You would be able to use Google to log in addition to Twitch. Saber Runner, how does long and short rest button affect Artificer features? It will affect them as they need to be affected. So if something resets on a short rest, you hit short rest, it will reset just like it does for any of the other classes. I may be missing something there, but yeah, I mean, it should work as it does for anything else. Int front, will the Discord D&D bot be able to summon all information? I think I already answered this one. All information regardless of what you own or have permissions for on the site, or will it require linking to a D&D Beyond account to successfully use? Did just answer this. You will need to link your Discord account to your DDB account when we get to that point. Malaranis, we run our campaign remotely over Discord. Will the D&D Beyond bot be usable out? Yes. So it will be usable on your own server eventually. We are not to that stage yet, but eventually it will be available. Newfound controls. Is there going to be a way for a DM to pull a block without the player seeing it? We understand that's a concern. There are some fairly simple workarounds just from using a different channel, that sort of thing. But we will continue to look and see how we can do that, within Discord itself and see what kind of capabilities exist. And if the capability exists, then I imagine we would be able to do that. Olarendil, what is the official nickname of the Discord bot? It's in alpha at this point, and so we don't have a really great nickname for her yet, but we will see what we come up with. Yes, these are collected from, thanks, Lauren. These are collected from chat and social media. All right, Miles Main, any word on progress of homebrew compatibility of class-specific options like fighting styles, totem spirits, eldritch invocations, land circles, hunter's prey? Very exhaustive list here. No progress whatsoever on these at this point in time, but they are on the list. Sam Henry, my question is the ability to homebrew full custom classes going to be part of the homebrew revamp ticket on the roadmap? That is the current intent, yes. Valak the Lightbringer. Valak the Lightbringer. Can we get dark mode for the site? Why do you want dark mode? You're a Lightbringer. A gifting system in the marketplace would be sweet too. Can we get dark mode for the site? It is unfortunately not as easy as just setting all backgrounds to 000 hex code. It's a little harder than that. I imagine that the persistence of all of you will win out one of these days, and we will have a dark mode one of these days. No ETA on it for this point in time. A gifting system in the marketplace would be sweet. And I have previously said that if we enter the holiday season this year without a gifting system, I am going to be a very sad owlbear. Corgazer, will it ever be possible to use the Twitch overlay with VODs? That is actually a question for Twitch. I have no idea if they're ever going to be able to pull that off, but if they make that available as part of Twitch extensions, then it is absolutely something that we would explore and likely do. Luke, will we get a fix for homebrewed sub races showing as separate entries rather than as a drop down under the parent race in the character builder? I am afraid I'm not terribly familiar with what your question is asking here. So I'm going to have to dig in on that one a little bit before I can provide a better answer. Setsuna MH, how about news on the progress of encounter management? I'm so ready for this exclamation point. I am so ready for it too. And I shared a little bit of the progress earlier. And then hopefully next week, you guys can start to see how it's going to look and feel. And then hopefully we will have more news at some point in the near future on when you can expect alpha testing for subscribers. Alpha Prime 99, any interest in having the prior pre-order bonuses, character frames, character backdrops, theme colors available as a paid edition? Some of us did not utilize DDB until recently, and despite owning the Legendary Bundle, can't access these features. Thanks. I imagine that is something you will see one day. Offspring, the Twitch D&D Beyond overlay. How feasible is it to get that same thing, but just on my own personal screen for quick reference of my players, and maybe with the ability to move the order for initiative tracking? It is definitely feasible, and it is something that I imagine you will start seeing as we come to the end of Encounter Builder and as we come into some of the DM screen work that we're going to be doing. Offspring, the Twitch D&D Beyond overlay. Oh, that's the same question. JJ Ashley, will the Gunslinger be added to the class page like the Blood Hunter was? I have a link bookmarked, but having it there would be a huge help. Yeah, I imagine at some point we will do that. No ETA on it. Kel McDonald, any discussion or news regarding new legendary bundles for just source books and just adventures? I can tell you that a source book bundle or an adventure bundle would not be called a legendary bundle, because legendary is all of it. But yeah, I don't have an update or news on that, but it is something that will be coming in the future. Vector State, will it be possible to make mundane items and alternative weapons, for instance, or do we have to make magic items with no real magic? Yeah. Ooh, these things are scrolling too fast. We will, I imagine, do this at some point. That's another thing that we would likely take a look at as we started to get into our homebrew revamp. Those Coals, any more word on if and when an API will be made available? No more word on when that will be available. Cosplay Right, have you given any more thought to making the Encounters of the Week available in printer-friendly PDF in the marketplace? Yes, I have given it thought. Oh, I imagine you probably want some kind of elaboration. We're not doing it at any point in the near future, but we definitely are giving it some thought. Aaron Lore, what does everything under the upcoming section of the feature roadmap entail? As to the public only, a few words are available to describe it. As to the public, only a few words are available to describe it. Yes. So everything in that upcoming section, you have as much information as we are comfortable publicly revealing at this point in time. There is a reason that there is some level of vagueness to what's being said there, because at the end of the day, we actually try to accomplish objectives and not necessarily features. And so it's very difficult for us to communicate those objectives very clearly with the community, because there's just going to be a lot of confusion when we say things like, you know, our objective is to engage dungeon masters more fully and give them tools that are going to make the game more convenient, more customizable, and more captivating for them. So that's an example of a pretty big objective that we currently have. And so that's actually how we roadmap is those objectives. These features are things that are rough straw men that we hypothesize broadly at this point in time that will help us accomplish those objectives. And so in that means that a particular feature like a DM screen that can mean so many different people for things for so many different people, and we recognize that, and we are not going to pin ourselves into a corner by really detailing out what's going on with a DM screen. Instead, we roughly know that the community is asking for that. As we get closer and closer to that, we will refine what that means, and we will do our diligence to make sure that what we create is covering as much of the community needs as possible. All right, let's see. CNC Lord 77. Will the encounter builder have concentration tracking for players and monsters? We'll see. That would probably be more on the character sheet, possibly for monster. We'll see how that goes. Cuddly Evil. Can classes other than artificers all have more than 3 attunement slots? There will be a new homebrew modifier available that will allow you to have more information there, or more attunement slots there, rather. So you can have more attunement slots using that modifier. So that can happen with a homebrew subclass. It can happen with potentially a magic item. I'm sure people will get very creative with that. Justin T. Bassett. Will username, password, login be supported? Some people prefer that over third-party service logins. Don't know the definitive answer to that, but the current plan is no. There are so many risks that come with hosting your own authentication service that really, to be honest, the trends that we've seen in the industry are that native authentication has become less and less secure, and more devious people in the world today want your information. And so actually our strategy here to not use a native login is more in the interest of ensuring that your information stays as secure as we can make it. All right, let's see. Duff USD. Can you give an update on the DM screen? No, I can't. We're not there yet, but I'm sure it's gonna be cool when we get there. Will whoever wins the DDB Party Planning Committee presidential vote be considered DDB staff, a contractor, or some kind of volunteer? Definitely some kind of volunteer, as it is not an official role. It is just something that we were joking around with. And so we will see what happens. I can tell you, though, that from a campaign support perspective, Liam is ahead of Sam right now with code redemptions by a reasonable margin. So Sam is not doing well right now. Army Aircat. I want my players to be able to create a character from any race or monster and track that character on D&D Beyond. Will this ever be possible? The monster creator will eventually, anyway, allow you to add class levels to a monster. So I believe that will accomplish what you want to do there. A Stray Cat. Will part of the character builder overhaul that is down the road include a way to easily visually differentiate, that's a lot of words, homebrew items from official ones? Currently, homebrewed races have a nifty little house icon, but feats, background, spells, and items not so much. That probably, I'm not sure where that would be grouped, whether that would be in a character builder overhaul or not, but it is an intended thing that we want to get to. Yes. Maxor 102, is there an expected date? I might as well stop reading this question, of when things can be marked as inside of a bag of holding? I continued because I like you. No, there's not an expected date. It is on the list, and we are going to get to it as soon as we can. K Mander, any words on the Wondrous items filter being broken in the character sheet? No word, but if that's a bug that's been reported, I'm sure it is on our backlog and something that we will address. Anonymous, are we going to get Matt's Way of the Cobalt Soul stuff? Unfortunately, Way of the Cobalt Soul is available in the Tal'Dorei campaign setting guide, and we do not have a license to include that subclass. GM, wow. I'm assuming this is Roman numerals, and I got to think about this for a second. So what is X? What is I? What is X? I don't even know. I don't know Roman numerals. All right, I get that black and white listing resources is probably not a huge community issue, but it is a real problem for us DMs. Well, I think your assumption is a little bit wrong because this is one of the things that we are prioritizing. It's near the top of the list right now. Basically, content management is going to cover what you're talking about here, and it is in the upcoming bucket right now, and is one of the next things that we'll look at. Question from several people in the Discord: is a hot dog a sandwich? I've answered this one before, and the concept that it's a sandwich is utterly ridiculous. All right, so I am now receiving the word that the Artificer is live. The Artificer is live. So because the Artificer is live, let's go ahead and give out a legendary bundle. Let's just do it right now because we're so excited that the Artificer is live. So since the Artificer is live, let's give out a legendary bundle. You need to type something in chat. Doesn't matter what that thing is. You can type the name of your upcoming Artificer. You can type anything that you want to. You cannot ask me for a date of when something's going to be available. That will automatically disqualify you. But other than that, type anything you want. And we are going to pick a winner in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rumple 31. Rumple 31. You have won a legendary bundle. Congratulations, Rumple 31. Someone will get with you very soon to award the legendary bundle. All right, let's see. Let's go back here and let's see what's going on with this little Artificer now. All right. They tell me it's available. See if I believe them. I don't see it here. Doesn't look available to me, guys. All right. Maybe we got the cache going on. The dreaded cache. Yeah. Something's missing. Somebody didn't check something off a list somewhere. All right, we'll get that addressed. But you should be able to go and see, yeah, something's really, let me hard break. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we don't have it quite yet. So it looks like if you're not getting it, you might have some caching going on. We probably need to break it somewhere there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So there might be some rolling updates here. There's several pieces that have to come together, but the Artificer should be going live any second now. And other than that, let's get back to our questions. We've got about 10 minutes. All right. So here we go. Dagobah 46. Will there be sweet tea and pie for staff today? There will be sweet tea for at least one staff today, but no, it will not be a widespread thing. We can't keep it in our refrigerators. It's not my fault. Actually, I think that our catering service had sweet tea today. So other people will have sweet tea today. And I don't think there will be pie, but there will be candy and everything else. But yes, happy Pi Day to everyone out there. Dragonborn Doug, as a DM, I have to scroll pretty far into some of the adventures to run them. Scrolling down takes the fantastic new mega menus away. Can there be a way to sticky the search bar to the top so I don't have to go back to top every time a question comes up? I already have too many tabs to manage. I think that all of that is very reasonable, and it is feedback that I have seen and provided myself. And I think that we will see some navigation improvements come to pass in especially what is the compendium content right now, but no idea when. Jay Plangen, would you consider developing a character portrait builder similar to the way that you can build a me? All right. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Here is Big Daddy. When is the next update to the Eberron PDF? Like balance some stuff from playtesting since it's still in that phase. I cannot answer that question. Keith Baker and or Wizards of the Coast will be the ones that will need to answer that question. I don't know when the next update is. I will get that update when it happens, probably ahead of time, but I don't know when it actually will happen. Question from RW Java. Did you have cheese curds at GaryCon? I did. My last meal of GaryCon was at a place called Sprecher's, I think. Sprecher's, maybe. German type pubby place. And I had some cheese curds there, in addition to a ginger ale that almost gave my throat permanent damage. I don't know what's going on with the ginger ale up there, but that is not what I think is ginger ale, because it was just a spice monster, some kind of spice ooze slurping down my throat. But then I got a cream soda and it was really good. All right. K-Mander, if they never publish The Artificer, does it live forever or is there a sunset? That is a great question. There is a sunset if Wizards of the Coast requests a sunset. So I can't answer that for every bit of Unearthed Arcana content, but in general, this happens in seasons. So prior to Xanathar's Guide to Everything, people really, really latched onto this little wizard class that was like the lore master, this subclass that was the lore master. I mean, there was a reason that people latched onto it, because it was dramatically overpowered. That's my opinion. So people really latched onto it and wanted that thing to exist, but Wizards of the Coast realized that it was overpowered and that it shouldn't be a thing, and so it's not like a version of that is in play anymore. So there could be in the future. 2 months from now, the UA might be a new version of the Lore Master, but there are essentially seasons. A lot of times when a pass of UA gets published, all of the UA preceding that would be deprecated, but it is based on what they tell us to sunset. Good question. The Penguin, will you guys be adding an option to homebrew entire classes? I already answered that one, I think, earlier today, but then definitely before. We do want to provide that at some point in the future for sure. And it is in our plan to do so. G Pyromania, what's the silliest misunderstanding of a D&D rule you've ever had at your table? The silliest misunderstanding of a rule. This is a really difficult question to answer on the fly. I don't know. I will say that the strangest, most awkward, confrontation, we'll call it, that ever happened at a table was someone was rolling a D4 and they took the D4 and just dropped it about an inch and it went right on 4. And I asked them to re-roll it and they refused to re-roll it. And I said, come on, you just kind of dropped it there. And then they continue to say that, I shouldn't be accusing them of cheating or whatever. So they didn't play anymore after that. So that's probably the weirdest thing that I've ever had happen at a table. For the most part, people that play D&D are great. I love you all. I'll have to think about the rule misunderstanding, because to be honest, I don't think a lot of rules misunderstandings happen at my table, because I am much, if there is a misunderstanding, I roll with it and move past it and then update after the session and tell the group, hey, we're going to interpret this way going forward. So it doesn't really happen at the table very frequently. Con Aramon, when are DDB branded snacks coming? That probably is never happening. Let's be real. But I would love to see some swag and other kind of merchandise happen at some point in the future. Dark Eric Kusu. Will the Mystic Scion be added as playtest content to the character builder as soon as Wizards of the Coast releases another iteration of that class, or what version of that class? Then we will provide it. All right, final question, as we are now out of time, from Source. What a terrible username. It's not even spelled right. It's like SORCE. It's missing a U. What did you get Source for his birthday? Oh, so it is one of our moderators' birthday. So we will obviously sing happy birthday. So I want everybody out there to sing with me. Are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Source with no U. Happy birthday to you. All right. Happy birthday, Source. Appreciate the moderators and everything that they do. They are incredible. And so I hope you guys sang along. It's every mod's birthday. So, maybe that's what's going on. All right. All right. I think that we are out of questions. So let's see. I've got a couple of minutes left here. And let's see if we have any others that I can sneak in from chat. All right. Question. In Artificer, under Specialist, it says it's UA material and says I need to go to the marketplace to unlock. How do I unlock to view the character? I don't know, actually. That may be something that we need to kind of pay a little more attention with here. So let's see. Oh, I don't have playtest content on. That's probably affecting things. All right, so let's see. In our Artificer. There we go. Oh, I see what you're saying. This is just a standard message that we have kind of put blanket across the board to ensure that if someone does not see something in the list there, that they understand that it likely is available in the marketplace. In this case, that would not happen. And so if you are not seeing options here, you probably should come back and make sure that you have playtest content checked here. That is very likely what the issue is, because you probably were grabbing the Artificer page ahead of time because you guys are so sneaky. You figured out all our URL paths. So you were probably doing that. And just like I did here, you were in before it was live, and that is going to make that an issue. So yeah, ultimately this is turn on playtest content. Everything should be fine. I think that we are out of time at this point in time. Let's see. Question. Do you know you have an amazing voice? I wasn't even trying right there. But thank you. I appreciate it. All right. That's all the time for today. We will talk to you guys very soon. Looking forward to showing off some bits, hopefully, of some look and feel of the Encounter Builder next week. Definitely making progress on all fronts. We are having a blast doing it, and we love all of you out in the community. You make this worthwhile and everything that we want this job and everything that we're doing to be. So thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next time.